Yo, wow, going beautiful people. So I'm pretty, I'm super starstruck. I have to say this. I don't think I have ever been, really excited to do an interview, But anyway, I do enjoy all interviews. But today's Bazenga is none other than the main man himself, Eugene Mbugua. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, bro. How are you?
I'm very well. Freshi.
Kapsa, happy to be on your show.
Yeah, man. Karibu sana Teen Republik.
Asante.
Yeah, so these are creative space for people. Going straight into it. Eugene Mbugua. Who is Eugene Mbugua?
Eugene Mbugua is an entrepreneur. I'm the CEO of DNR Studios.
Yeah.
We produce television, everything from Young Rich, Get in the Kitchen, Soul Family. We have a new show coming up next week called Kyallo Culture.
Yes.
So we produce content, and I'm the CEO of the company.
All right.
Also run a business called Number 7 in the CBD. So I'm an entrepreneur.
So basically all that. So maybe growing up, Eugene Mbugua, how was growing up for you, and what are some of the things maybe growing up that have really shaped you into who you are right now?
Yeah. So I come from a pretty humble background, and I've been an entrepreneur since school actually.
Yeah.
I went to Upper Hill School just near here. And while there, they used to have a small canteen, and someone was just reminding me the other day that I used to sell mandazi at that small canteen.
For real?
Yeah. Very much driven by trying to avoid poverty.
Yeah, sure.
So very much driven by necessity. And so after high school, I almost got into entrepreneurship almost immediately again.
Yeah.
Set up my first company teaching primary school kids about basic film.
So that's where it all started. So you're teaching primary school kids about film.
It all started when a cousin of mine took me on a film set.
All right.
This was Inspector Mwala, so if you look on the internet, you could find some pretty embarrassing clips, which I hope you never find.
Yeah, we will find. The internet never forgets. The internet never forgets.
So I started out as a boom singer, an extra filling out the background in different TV shows.
Yeah.
And then while there, around the year 2010, I think, my friend Dexter and I set up our first company.
Yeah.
Our thinking was this: they have music club and they have drama club in primary schools.
Yeah.
So what if you introduce film club and charge the kids? We didn't know much film ourselves. We also just going on Wikipedia and learning the stuff, borrowing cameras here and there.
Yeah.
So that's where the entrepreneurship journey began. And then set up the first TV production company in 2013.
That's amazing.
Had our first TV show on one of the local channels called Young Rich, and reinvested, and here we are.
Right. So maybe what's your biggest? We understand number 7 is really, really important for you. So maybe what really happened? Maybe what is number 7 for you? Is it a date that you were born? Is it maybe an age?
The number 7 is significant for me because of what happened when I was the age of 7.
All right.
And of course, if you're a religious person, there's some connotation to the number 7. If you're a gambler, I think the number 7 also has like a lucky connotation to it. Sure. So globally, 7 has a significant figure, and for me, 7 is mostly around when I was the age of 7, and that's how number 7 came about. For that, I just like to go with James Bond.
Yeah. Amazing. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
So maybe getting to understand making your first million. What was your biggest takeout? Because I know you've told people this story. You made your first million at 22, 23.
So the thing that people don't understand is when you say you made your first million, it's not cash in pocket. It's when you land your first deal that's worth $1 million.
I get it.
And in our case, as soon as that money came in, we were heavily in debt. So the first thing you see is it comes in and it all goes.
True.
Because to be able to make $1 million, you need to put in 700, 800,000.
Yeah.
Because there's quite a huge difference between what is profit and what is revenue.
Yeah.
So for us, I think the first million actually came with a lot of pressure because the immediate need was to ensure that we could sustainably continue doing what we had done. It was for a TV show, and we had already produced, I think, almost 8 episodes of this. So a lot of that money just came in whoosh.
Yeah, and all the bills that you had to pay, everyone else you owed money and pay them. Yeah.
But what it does for you is it does a lot for your self-confidence.
Yeah.
For me, I never imagined that I will never see $1 million.
Sure.
It sort of makes you believe that you can actually achieve some big things.
Sure.
And then now, of course, now we're thinking, how can we get to $1 billion? How can we get to 10 billion? How can we get to $1 billion?
Yeah.
So there's a power that comes in your self-belief when you do make a million. Of course, it was quite a different amount in today's money.
Yeah. You said you made your first million. Kuna mtu kama sema, you know what? Hii first million yangu kwani haifiki, haikuji, Does it
I
pay?
think every industry does pay, depending on how well you play your cards. I think for one of the things that people have to think about entertainment, for instance, is that a lot of it is driven by advertising. So it doesn't matter what kind of entertainment you're doing.
Sure.
How does it align with brands? Because think about music, for instance. Most musicians make their money not necessarily from streaming, but from concerts.
Yeah.
Concerts are heavily sponsored by corporate.
True.
TV shows like the ones we make are heavily financed by either streaming services or by advertisers. So we are constantly thinking about that. How can we make TV shows that align well with advertisers. So like for instance, our first TV show, Young Rich, was sponsored by insurance companies, was sponsored by banks. And so that made it an interesting product for the broadcaster who was paying for it. So it's just a matter of thinking about the full value chain. If you're a vlogger, of course you want people to be able to plug in their products in there. So of course you need to make content that's friendly to those advertisers that you're targeting. So every industry does pay if you think very carefully and over a long period of time about the business model and where the money comes from in your chain.
Exactly. So Eugene, what was your biggest, what was the first maybe TV show, maybe the first, anything you really worked on, ukasema, wow, this was your biggest breakthrough? Ile kitu ulifanya and you're like, ai, kitu, kidogo I'm feeling ishish about it, but yet again the response was really, really positive.
Amongst our shows, I would say, of course, the biggest one is Young Rich, and that's why our company was initially called Young Rich TV before we switched to DNR Studios. Young Rich was the first TV show that I had on national TV. We had I had shot a bunch of stuff prior to that. Actually, if you look at that painting over there, that's my first production ever. And that's me. I think I was maybe 21. So we had shot quite a bit prior to Young Rich, but Young Rich was the first show on national television, and that changed everything. In terms of what my favorite show is, there's a show we have called Story Yangu. Of course, Young Rich will always be my first baby.
Yeah, definitely.
But then we have a show called Story Yangu that profiles different people
personalities and everything
to Kenya. And I love documentaries, so that has to be my second in terms of impact because it's my favorite show. Then you have a show like Soul Family. So we ventured into celebrity reality shows with Bing Bahati. We were the first ones to do it on national television, actually. So Bing Bahati was one of ours. And we learned, there was a lot of learnings that we picked from that, which we then applied to Sauti Sol. And of course, Sauti Sol being the biggest band in Africa, I would say that was also quite impactful for us because I feel like that also gave us quite a bit of what can you say, critical acclaim.
True.
And open doors for a lot of other interest. Of course, but with also these projects, sometimes the newest one is your favorite. So we are very excited right now about Kyallo Culture.
Are you in a position where now you're also mentoring other people under you as Eugene and maybe as DNR Studios? Do you have maybe guys who you're mentoring, young people out here? Because trust me, there are very many people doing arts, film and all that. So how are you being able, or you as Eugene, what are you doing to empower them?
So we have at DNR Studios, we do have a mentorship, we do have an internship program, not necessarily mentorship, and we do take in interns every quarter. This is from every department: editing, production, camera crew. So we do have that on that side. Personally, I feel like my biggest, I'm not able to do personalized mentorship because of just time constraints. But I feel like I do share my nuggets. I do share what I'm reading on my social media pages. I do share what my routine is like. I do give talks to different universities. So for instance, I think this week I'm speaking to the Strathmore Business School. I do go back to my alma mater, USIU, and give talks there. So I'm not able to do it on a personalized level one by one, but I do give it. Do give mentorship generally.
While you were at USIU, I used to go to classes from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. and then during the day you are working. So what can you tell guys? Kuna swana sema, you know what, sasa nataka kusoma nimalize nisake job. So what is the significance of maybe learning how to work at an early age and maybe sacrificing your time and everything? And how has it worked to your advantage right now?
I would say that perhaps the biggest thing that has worked in my favor is that I started early. I'm 31 now, and I think I have about 14 years experience in this industry. So it's a crazy amount of time, and this is purely because I started at the age of 18. I don't know how it works for most universities, but the school that I went to, if you're doing a journalism course, for instance, and most courses, you had a total of, I think, maybe 2 classes every day, unless you had them accelerated. No, maybe they can go up to 3 or 4. And each one of them was about 90 minutes long. So if you look at it, it's literally a quarter of your week combined. How is it that you're doing only one thing that takes up a quarter of your week for 4 years? It just didn't make any sense to me. Again, although that also has to come with a disclaimer, because I was not working because I liked it. I was working out of necessity. By the time I was graduating, I had about 5 years experience at the workplace. So you see, I was just not at the same place as my fellow students. And of course, this is not it's not possible for everybody. USIU was we were lucky at the university that I went to that you were able to take part-time classes. But that was a big plus for me, because in terms of just how much experience I was able to gather prior to officially joining the workforce.
Yeah.
So start early.
That's basically it. And there's never the perfect time to start. Just start.
Well, I think you need an ID.
Oh, at least, yeah.
For the most part. But yeah, as early as you can start.
Just start early. So maybe as we wrap up, don't you have maybe a conflict of interest when you're doing a show? Maybe you're doing a certain particular show, this other show. Maybe do ideas, don't they clash?
I don't think really our ideas clash because we have quite a wide array of TV shows. We have wedding shows, our Perfect Wedding and our 5th anniversary. We've got cooking shows, Foods of Kenya and Get in the Kitchen. We have a show right here on NTV every Sunday at 8 p.m. called Best Of, which is a lifestyle show. And all these concepts are independent of each other. What we do is we have a big team, quite a number of different people working on different projects. So each of the shows will have its own dedicated team. Sometimes the same dedicated team will do 2 different TV shows. So there's no clash per se, because a lot of those ideas are all independent.
Maybe you can talk to guys, your fellow creators, when you're Kopale, they're looking for Eugene. How can we get him? How can we go to his office and stuff? Maybe what's the one thing you can really tell them? Maybe your biggest lesson so far as you've been doing this?
There's a quote I always repeat probably at every interview, which is start today where you are with what you have. Because it's usually the world will never present to you a perfect time to do what it is you want to do. Start today where you are with what you have. But on top of that as well, particularly for the business, for the creative industry, is think about the business, not just the creativity element of it. Think about how your peers are making money from whatever it is that you want to do. We like to say that we're in the television business, not the television industry. So and nobody will come and educate you about how the business works. So as much as you're creating, also do think very carefully about how the money elements and the business elements of what it is you do work.
Right. So there you have it, Eugene Mbugua, our Bazenga. Thank you very much, sir, for being here on Teen Republik.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Karibu Tena, and I'm looking forward to having a bigger conversation after this. So there you have it, guys. Eugene Mbugua right here on Teen Republik segment ni Bazenga. Please tell us next week, same place, same time. Nataka tulete nani hapa. We have Eugene Mbugua na umeona tunafika bei. So there you have it. My name is Joseph Manadhi, the Trendsetter. See you guys next week, same place, same time. Adios. I love you all.